You can always feel Sagittarius before you fully understand them. There's this wild spark in their energy. Restless, curious, a little untamed. They're ruled by fire and guided by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, so nothing about them is meant to stay small. Sagittarius is the sign of the seeker, always chasing truth, experiences, and the feeling of being fully alive. They love hard, but they also love freedom. They tell the truth, but sometimes before they soften the edges. They're not here to live a half-life. And emotionally, that shows in everything they do. A happy Sagittarius is contagious. You can hear it in their laugh, loud, unfiltered, coming from their whole body. When they're in a good place, their optimism takes the lead. They crack jokes, hype everyone up, and turn even small moments into mini adventures. A drive to the store becomes a sing-along, a casual conversation turns into a deep talk about life, the universe, and what's next. When Sagittarius is happy, they feel like the world is wide open. They're planning trips in their head, dreaming about the future and saying yes more than no. They feel free, free to be themselves, free to move, free to choose. That sense of freedom is their oxygen. Take that away, and you'll see their light dim. But when it's there, they're fire in motion. When Sagittarius falls in love, it's passionate, surprising, and honest. They might resist it at first because love feels like a form of gravity, and Sagittarius is used to flying. But once they trust it, they throw themselves into it with enthusiasm. They want a partner, not a cage. Someone they can dream with, travel with, laugh with, and grow with. In love, a Sagittarius becomes more present than you'd expect from a free spirit. They'll check on you, send you memes, invite you into their world, introduce you to their friends, and want to share experiences with you. They love through adventure, new places, new ideas, trying something wild just because. They also love through truth. You'll always know where you stand with a Sagittarius who's really in love with you. They might be blunt, but they're rarely fake. What they need in love is simple but not easy: honesty, space, and growth. If you try to control them, they start to suffocate. But if you walk beside them, not on top of them, they'll give you a love that feels like sunrise. Bright, hopeful, and full of possibility. When a Sagittarius is excited, you can't miss it. Their whole energy shifts into high gear. Their eyes light up, their gestures get bigger, they start talking faster, and ideas pour out of them like they've been waiting for the right moment to explode. Whether it's a trip, a new project, a creative idea, a person, or even a random impulse. When Sag is passionate, they're electric. They're the type to say, "Let's just go," and mean it. Book the ticket, start the business, move to a different city, try the thing that scares you. They're fueled by the belief that life is meant to be experienced, not overthought. And when they're passionate, they want to bring you along for the ride. If they're inviting you into that energy, it means you matter to them. When Sagittarius is jealous or insecure, people don't always associate Sagittarius with jealousy, but it's there. It just doesn't look like drama. It looks like distance. Sagittarius doesn't like admitting they're hurt or insecure. They'll laugh it off, act like they don't care, or throw out a joke that sounds light but says a lot. If they feel threatened, overlooked, or replaced, they might suddenly become busy or start pulling their energy back without explaining why. Inside, it hits their pride and their belief that they shouldn't need anyone. Part of them wants to pretend they're above feeling jealous, but the truth is, they do care. They just don't want to feel weak for caring. What helps? Reassurance, but in a real way. Not clinginess, not over-explaining, just clear, honest reminders that they matter. I chose you. I want you here. You're not in competition with anyone. If they believe you, they'll relax. If they don't, they'll start mentally checking out, even if their body is still around. When Sagittarius is angry. Sagittarius anger is fast and hot. They don't usually simmer, they flare. One minute they're fine, the next minute they're snapping, spilling blunt truths, or walking out of a situation that pushed them too far. They don't love conflict, but they do love honesty. So if they feel like lines were crossed, they won't hold back forever. When Sagittarius is angry, their words can be sharp. They say things straight, sometimes without cushioning, and later they might realize they wounded you more than they meant to. But behind that anger is usually a feeling that their freedom, their integrity, or their truth was disrespected. The best way to deal with a Sagittarius in that state is not to trap them in an argument. Don't corner them. Don't demand they sit down and talk right now. Give them a little space to cool off. Then approach them with calm honesty. Admit what you did, say how you feel, and don't overplay the victim. They respect accountability and directness. Once they feel heard and things are clear, they move on surprisingly fast. They don't like staying mad. It feels like wasted time. When Sagittarius is hurt, the first instinct is often to run, physically or emotionally. They might change their routine, disappear into work, hang out with new people, or suddenly become obsessed with a new distraction. It's not that they don't feel it. They feel it deeply. They're just afraid if they sit still with that pain, it will swallow them. Loneliness for Sagittarius can look like constant motion. They're out, social, busy, but inside they feel misunderstood, unseen, or taken for granted. They might joke about everything, but there's a heaviness under the humor if you pay attention. They'll tell a story about being hurt and laugh like it's nothing. But if you listen closely, you'll hear the ache in their voice. What they need when they're hurt is a safe space that doesn't make them feel trapped. Someone who says, "You don't have to explain everything. I get it. I'm here." Someone who can sit with them in their truth without trying to control their next move. When they feel emotionally safe, they finally slow down and let the pain move through them instead of running from it. When Sagittarius feels like a second choice, especially in love, it hits their pride and their faith in people. They might not show you the depth of how much it hurts, but inside, something in them shifts. They start questioning the whole connection. If I'm not your first choice, why am I here? They won't beg. They won't fight for a spot you didn't clearly give them. They'll just leave. Maybe not immediately, maybe not dramatically, but emotionally, they start unhooking themselves from the idea of you. They pull their energy back. They start making plans that don't include you, and they remind themselves that they were whole before you arrived. The sad part is, they probably pictured a big, beautiful future with you. Sagittarius is a dreamer too, just in a more outward, expansive way. So when they realize they were just a backup plan or a temporary option, it stings. They may smile, crack a joke, act cool about it, but that's their armor. Once they accept that they weren't chosen fully, they rarely come back the same way. When Sagittarius is healing, healing for Sagittarius is about reclaiming joy. They start traveling again, literally or metaphorically. They reconnect with the things that make them feel alive. New hobbies, new places, new friendships, new ideas. They read more, move more, laugh more. Their spirit needs space to breathe again. At first, healing might look like distraction, but eventually it becomes real integration. They look back and see what they learned, where they ignored their intuition, where they settled, where they gave up too much of themselves. As they heal, they become more honest about what they want and what they won't tolerate. Healing doesn't make Sagittarius colder. If anything, it makes them brighter but more selective. They're still optimistic, still hopeful, still ready for the next adventure, but now they're more careful about who gets a ticket to ride with them. When Sagittarius heals, they remember who they are, a soul built for growth, movement, honesty, and big love. In the end, Sagittarius is not just wild or non-committal, they're a sign that craves meaning. They want love that expands them, friendships that inspire them, and a life that feels like a story worth telling. If you can love a Sagittarius without trying to put them in a cage, they'll give you a connection that feels like fire and fresh air at the same time.